Hi, I'm here with Ninan Chacko, who is Chief Executive Officer of Travel Leaders Group. And Ninan, we're here at the ASTA Premium meeting, and we wanted to find out a little bit. First of all, explain what Travel Leaders Group is to those who may not know, although I think most of us do.
Travel Leaders Group, essentially a large grouping of agencies, a variety of different business models, host and branch, consortia, branded and unbranded franchise, focusing on everything from corporate travel, leisure, especially premium, meetings, events, and also entertainment.
And you previously, most recently, were working for PR Newswire, and you came on board last fall, I believe, right?
Correct. So I started at Travel Leaders Group in September, and prior to that, for about 6.5 years, was the Chief Executive Officer of PR Newswire.
But you do have travel experience, right?
I do. I spent approximately 20 plus years across System 1, Sabre, and WorldSpan.
System 1, that's a name out of the past, right?
It is a name out of the past, I think, for those of us old enough to remember.
Right. Now, where are the travel agents of the future going to come from? Are you having challenges finding travel agents for your various entities for Travel Leaders Group?
I think there are some challenges, probably uniquely in the industry. We have a couple of programs really intended to bring in fresh participants, whether they're millennials or people also at later stages of life doing mid-career transitions, Travel Leaders of Tomorrow, and our next program where we're teaching them the fundamentals of the agency business. But I think it is less a question of age and background and really one of passion and interest.
Mm-hmm. Well, it should be a great career, actually, if you can really explain it well, right?
I think that is really fundamentally the skill set. It's really about having a deep level of interest and love for that specific lifestyle or geography or set of activities that essentially you want to be in the business of providing expert advice around, and obviously travel arrangements.
Right. Now, one of the challenges that agents have, of course, is consumer awareness and marketing their services and value. What is Travel Leaders doing, and what would you tell travel agency owners today about how to best market their services and get that consumer awareness out?
So increasingly today, we're in an environment where consumers and buyers of goods are doing their own research. In fact, I think a Forrester would estimate 60% of that research is happening before they come to you. So if people are doing research in Google, in social media, online, through their friends, follows that your services as a travel agent have to show up in those places that they're looking. Mm-hmm. We've taken that first step by essentially enabling agent profiles around who they are, what their specialty expertise is, and making that available in Google search. And I would say that's a very healthy model for what all travel agents should be doing, essentially marketing themselves and their services and amplifying that across all forms of media, social, mobile, search, earned, etc.
Well, though we are up against the OTAs who spend billions, so I mean, what's your reaction? I mean, is there enough resources in the traditional travel agency community to get that awareness out?
Absolutely, because I think the distinction is what the OTAs are spending gazillion dollars on is acquiring that customer when they're ready to transact. The OTAs aren't terribly interested in you if you're sort of going, I want to go on vacation somewhere, not sure where, not sure what to do. Because that effectively is a consumer who's not ready to transact. An OTA is most interested in you when you know exactly where you're going, on what dates, with how many people, and what your budget is. Right. And I think the role of an agent is to help shape that demand, is to help form and to advise them, give them counsel on essentially how to meet that in the best possible way. And I think that's where we're uniquely suited.
Now, what are your predictions for the future of the travel agency distribution system? Obviously, you have to be positive as a leader of one of the largest groups, if not the largest group in the U.S., but where do you think it's headed?
I am biased, James, as you pointed out, but I've always been a very passionate believer that the travel business itself was really fundamentally on the leisure side about experiences. Most consumers, how many TVs are you going to buy a year? How many washing machines? How many cars?
I got a lot of TVs. I don't know about you.
But at the end of the day, if you've had a great travel experience, you're going to consume more and more of that. And as our incomes continue to rise, that will be more and more the case. And I think agents are uniquely situated because they bring a human touch to that equation to help service and fulfill that demand. It doesn't mean that you've got to be the agent of record for every single transaction a consumer does. You know, when they decide to buy their ticket from New York to Cleveland, they might transact on that online, and that's perfectly okay. But at least on those types of trips and experiences that are unique and longer and involve greater spend, I think that's where agents can distinguish themselves. And actually, I think that's something that's going to continue and grow and expand. And I see that in evidence almost every week that I'm on the job at Travel Leaders Group.
Well, it's the marriage of, the human touch and technology, right?
That's right. I mean, for me, my personal notion of what luxury is about is really having somebody else do what I can do myself. And can I book my travel myself? Absolutely. But just to use a personal anecdote, this last Christmas we were in Myanmar, and clearly I'm an experienced traveler and I know how to book travel. But when we started down planning for this trip, I turned around and used a travel agent for planning all of the internal travel and all of the elements of our trip in Myanmar and to get advice. Because for me, there was no better alternative to it. So in my case, even as an experienced traveler, for me to turn around and do that, I think helps reinforce that notion that there is a role for an expert human counselor to play in absolutely some part of all of these types of experiences.
Absolutely. Now, you're positive about the future for travel agents, but what are the challenges that travel agents are going to face in the future across the board, do you think?
Fundamentally around change, because I think till they're in a position where they're ready to adapt to change, whether it's technology change, different tools, changing the products they sell and service, their futures will be enhanced by that openness to change, particularly, as I said, around their working environment and what they sell. I think the other part about all of this is the other huge dimension of the travel agency business on a going forward basis is really all going to be about marketing. And I think in some parts that could be individual marketing, but I think there's absolutely a role for somebody like a Travel Leaders Group to play at a macro level where we're helping provide our enterprise and ecosystem scale and presence and visibility to acquire new customers on behalf of our agents. Not really to compete with OTAs. OTAs aren't interested in spending a lot of time on the phone. That's why it's, as most people know, it's a challenge to speak to somebody. That's part of our value proposition. So we've got a different value proposition to offer to people who are interested in travel experiences. And I think as Travel Leaders Group, we're going to invest fairly heavily in marketing to do that. And I think that's going to be one of those disciplines and skill sets that become enormously important for agents on a going forward basis, how to grow their businesses in today's era.
Fantastic. Well, Ninan, thank you very much for taking the time to share your insights on the travel agency business, and good luck for the future for Travel Leaders Group.
Thank you so very much, James. I appreciate it.
I'm James Schillinglaw for the ASTA channel.